My name is Fred Henderson, and I am the Chief Scientist for Mount Princeton Geothermal, LLC, here in Colorado. And I am been in the exploration business for mining, primarily, geothermal and other things, for almost 50 years. And we are working on what would be the first new energy production from electrical energy production from a geothermal resource here in Colorado, breaking new ground. Well, geothermal is really interesting, and it's been around a long time, but it's been primarily focused in California and in Nevada, where steam was originally produced. Here in Colorado, we are working with hot water, which has always been around in hot springs environments elsewhere, but nobody's really been able to get to it until the last 5 or 6 years or so, when technology's evolved, where we can actually take hot water rather than steam and take the electricity by running it through a heat exchanger, putting that water back in the ground. We pump it up, put it back in the ground, and have a kind of a closed cycle, sustainable production of electricity. So the opportunity in Colorado is there's only over almost 60 hot springs, many of which could produce viable electrical production. If you look across the United States, there's 1,700 hot springs. And some are already being produced in those states, Colorado and Nevada, where, of course, the industry's been around for over 50 years. But again, this is kind of a new application, and Colorado is a green field state. That is, it hasn't been done before. And there's other states like that which have hot springs that are just trying to get started. So it's a real challenge because not only is it an interesting scientific proposition as a geologist, the relationship of hot water in these steams, in these hot spring systems, is very similar to the hydrothermal, geothermal type water systems around many intrusive bodies, that's granite and volcanic stuff, which produce oil, gold, copper, lead, zinc, all kinds of things of that nature. So it's a similar kind of a hydrothermal system. In our case here, our heat is actually because it's coming along the Rio Grande Rift, which runs from Steamboat Springs all the way down to Mexico. So and the thinning of the earth there is where our probable heat source is. But it's the same kind of a ballgame. Well, there's two kinds of geothermal. There's actually three kinds. One is the geothermal heat pumps, which I don't really address. That's the use of basically heat exchangers under a person's house or building where you extract the heat. And you can use it to warm and cool a house. That's a fantastic business that is expensive up front, like all geothermal costs upfront investments, and the payouts are down the road. The second kind is what we're talking about, hydrothermal development, which includes steam or hot water. And that's an exciting underused thing in many places like Colorado. The third ultimate one, the kind of the Minerva, if you will, of geothermal is being able to go down and get enhanced geothermal systems underneath the earth. There's a tremendous amount of heat. Our problem is we don't have the technologies yet to get to it. So geothermal, in the grander sense, has a tremendous potential to beat natural gas if we can figure out that technology. Right now, Mount Princeton Geothermal is working on trying to get people interested in this state where it's never been done before. So one of our problems in Colorado is the fact that the whole regulatory system, the state, the federal agencies, the local county agencies have never had to deal with us or people like us before. That's not entirely true. During the 70s, there was an effort to do this, and then that's another story. But this is as alternative energy are becoming popular again, so is geothermal. So this is a new effort with the current set of people in place, and so they got to scratch their heads and figure out how to deal with this. And some are working with us real well, others kind of just not sure how they're going to handle it. So there are those kinds of problems. Everybody's learning as we go along. We have one of our major problems is there's 3 steps. You do the first step, which is the geology, geophysics, geochemistry, located, get land use, all that sort of stuff. That's what my partner or boss, Hank Hell, has already probably told you about. That's what he's put the money into primarily. The second step is drilling under these. We determine where there's a good place or reservoir possibility around a hot spring, let's say. But then you've got to drill it and prove that there is a reservoir there. And that's the valley of death. That's the problem. Where do you get the money, the chicken and the egg? We've done the money with all the upfront surface identification. But where do we get the $5 million to drill the deep wells and prove that there is a reliable resource in depth? After that point, a lot of the companies around here or people are interested in talking about putting in $50 million to put in a plant. Our problem is how to attract money to drill those deep wells. The people we meet here are reluctant to do so in general because they want a proven resource. So our problem is how do we prove it, and we're trying to find money to do that. We did this magnetotelluric survey, which is a real step forward, and that allows us to identify deep water, very hot water, what presumably is very hot water. We measure deep, high conductors, that's low resistivity, anomalies at depth. We're talking about maybe down 10 kilometers. In our things around Mount Princeton, we have a couple of probably really good reservoirs that are over 6,000 feet depth and from top to bottom, and they're large. But we got to drill a hole and improve them. That's where we're trying to get the money to do that. Well, we can use all the help we can get. That's one thing. But I think people ought to take a good look at geothermal because it's everywhere, and it's in the backyards of all of the utilities and all the co-ops. Trying to get their managements to think along this line has been not easy. One of the reasons is there are very strong lobbies for wind and solar. There's no strong lobby for geothermal because it's a small industry. It's focused on California and Nevada, and we want people in Colorado to know how good a deal it is for Colorado.